This is your roadmap to what we call limitless wealth with no BS. So if I lost everything today, no followers, no money, no connections, I'd still become wealthy again. Why? Because wealth isn't what you have, it's about what you know. And just so we're clear, this is not just another save another $5 a day video. This is the top 1% don't want going viral, but making sure you go viral anyway. I think a big part of what we do is we've been lied to about wealth. You know, you work hard, save money, and retire at 65. But yet most people, especially in the UK, once you get to the retirement age, like your pension, you don't get paid enough for you to be able to live. That's kind of the script they sold you. And it's keeping millions stuck in survival mode. Actually, I don't have a pension. My pension is my real estate. My pension are my properties. My pension are the assets and the equity that we have in companies. That's actually where you want to do it, because why? It starts growing in intrinsic value. You see, the wealthy don't work for money. They build machines that print it. You know, if your income stops when you're working, that's not wealth. That's just a job in fancy clothes. For example, when I start working, I have online assets that produce an income. I have software that produces an income. I have the entrepreneurship of different businesses that I have equity stakes in. I have real estate that pays an income. I have IP that I so-called kind of license my know-how. And when people use that specific framework, I get paid for that. I have knowledge that when I teach these businesses specifically how it's done, I get something in return for that. So the key is to limitless wealth is not creating something where you're working for it. You're creating something that produces an income for you. That's the massive difference. People say, oh, you know, I don't want to invest in that course. I don't want to invest in that software. I don't want to invest in that mentor. I don't want to invest in that business. But here's the truth. Money will always come back. Time will not come back. And if you look at all the things that you've been putting off and how many years you've been doing that, think about where you are right now and how long that's been happening. You don't need the permission to do it. What you need is a plan. You need a plan of step by step how to do it. So people say, well, John, it's not the right timing. Like, waiting for the perfect timing really doesn't exist. Start messy, start scared, but start. The old famous quote, you don't have to be great to start, you have to start to be great. And that's what we need to really start understanding. When I think about how I've created my life and created my business, everything has been by design. You know what most people do? They work in a job and then they go, okay, I get 20 days holiday and I'm gonna take holiday in here and here and here. And they block out their holiday. What I do is I block out what I want to do in life and I wrap my business around it. So for example, I'm gonna go to Disney World, take my daughter to Disney World. Okay, when I go there, I'm gonna make sure I've got other things happening there at the same time, because otherwise you're just flying there for flying there. So every time I fly to a different location, I want to have things set up, as I mentioned, you know, podcast interviews, speaking engagements, consulting clients, you know, business proposals, meeting friends and reconnecting, joining inner circle groups where I can really connect with people. I think it's just incredible that we get to understand that we need to design this plan ourselves. You don't need permission. You see, information is free, but execution is everything. And you know, you've watched the videos, you've read the books. Now it's about action. It's always about execution. Good news is we can learn something, and now artificial intelligence can take action for us. Technology can do the work for us. We don't have to do the work, we just need to come up with the idea. Wealth rewards movers, not thinkers, right? We can think a lot, great, but ideas are 10 a penny. It's funny because, you know, my wife, when I was on a flight back from Langkawi, and I said to her, what are the biggest problems in life right now, right, that people have? Because I wanted to build an app, right, on the flight back. And she told me, and I said, well, that's a really good idea. And then I started programming in it, and then I created it in less than 15 minutes. And she said, oh, do I get 50% of that? And I said to her jokingly, you know, ideas are 10 a penny. But it's true, right? We can have the idea all you want, but it's how that person executes their idea. That's what's important. You got the strategy, you got the steps, the truth. Now, the only question is, will you drive or will you park? And my advice to you is keep driving. Even when you get lost, use your GPS, get to the location you need to get to, and make things work. This is why I think it's so powerful to really understand all these different avenues that are available to us, but we need to be the person in the driving seat. The rich think decades, the broke think days, right? And the amount of people that I have signing on to program, oh, when can I make my first dollar? Well, how fast are you gonna take action? How long's a piece of string, right? You gotta play the long game. And I think so many people, and by the way, I'm guilty of this in my mid-20s to late 20s, that was what I was thinking about. Fast, 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 fast. That famous quote in this film called F1, where it talks about slow is smooth, but smooth is fast. And I love that. That stuck with me for a very long time, is that we try and rush things all the time, but in actual fact, we need to be sometimes slowing down, looking at the picture, watching things move in slow motion, seeing all the nuances, and then taking action on that. And again, still today, I catch myself kind of rolling into that, oh, I gotta get this stuff done. But sometimes, just take a deep breath in and just pause for a moment. And it's so powerful in that moment. You can think it's like sometimes in the early days when I speak on stage, and I still speak fast, right? But the early days I was like super fast and no one could hear what I was saying. I was going really fast and I was speaking so fast and no one could hear what I was saying. But the moment I stopped to let that message land, then people could absorb that message. And that's why I think it's so powerful to really just slow down sometimes. You have to go slow to go fast. You don't want to put your brake on the accelerator, right? And the foot on the brake at the same time. And then you just kind of, right? You want to brake when you want to brake, accelerate when you want to accelerate. You don't want to do both at the same time. If you love this, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below. And also I'll leave a video here as well. If you have any questions or you'd love to book a call with my team, in the link, you can actually click and have a little chat with my team, or you can go to johnlee.com. Well, thank you so much and check out this video here.